Hello, welcome to A Gut Feeling. My name is Janine and this is my channel where I talk all about gut health, specifically my journey with ulcerative colitis. So in this video I want to talk about pregnancy and ulcerative colitis, just more my personal experience with it. If you are from this channel and you've watched some of my other videos, this might be a lot of kind of repeat information. But if you came across this video through search, I welcome you here. It just seems there's very little information out there, at least videos of other people's experiences with dealing with things like ulcerative colitis and pregnancy. And so I just wanted to share my story. So I'm currently just shy of 40 weeks pregnant. We are at the end. Hopefully baby will come any day, any week now. And I'm super thankful that I have had a healthy pregnancy. I have been on no medication. For the past about 2.5 years, I have been managing my ulcerative colitis naturally with very little medication. There's only about one time in there that I did use some prednisone. But for the most part, I try to do my best to control everything with diet, lifestyle, and supplements. So if you want to learn more about my personal story, I just encourage you to look at some of my other videos. I've shared a lot with my journey, the things I've learned, the diets I've started, some of the key things that I feel help me to manage my symptoms. So just a quick recap, if you're new, I was diagnosed with severe ulcerative colitis about half a year after my son was born. He is currently 5, so that was in the year 2017. And that started a long journey of trying to find answers. I started off with medication. That was a real roller coaster. Sometimes things kind of worked, other times they didn't. And each time I got a flare, it just kept getting worse. It just seemed, I was one of these people that would flare for months. If I got into a flare, I could hardly get out of them. It wasn't just this short few weeks thing or 1 week or whatever, it was long. And so it was often like a few months in a flare, a few months out, back into a flare and out. It was just exhausting. My flares were pretty bad, where I considered them pretty bad, where I could run to the bathroom anywhere from probably 10 to 20 times a day. Or more, depending how severe it was. And each flare just seemed to get worse. Food, you know, when you ate, it just felt like you were digesting glass, lots of pain, lots of social anxiety. I became very much housebound during flares. I did not want to go out. Just the thought of driving somewhere, even just a few minutes, caused anxiety just because there's no bathrooms available. And when you have a severe flare, you obviously need a bathroom immediately. It was definitely some really hard times, and we're not through it. It's obviously a lifetime journey to deal with it. But I became serious about going medicine-free when my doctor was telling me, well, she was giving me some options. I did not like all the side effects of these drugs and a lot of the things I could not get pregnant on. And she was basically suggesting that I get surgery, and I was looking at wearing a pouch the rest of my life. And I was desperate to avoid that if all possible. So I believe it was the end of 2019 that I had that last doctor's visit, and I haven't been back to see her since. I decided to try my best to find answers on my own and go natural. I've shared a lot of that story on this channel, so feel free to check out other videos. Basically, to summarize everything, what I have found that works best for me is to really focus on balancing out your gut microbiome. A lot of us that have these gut issues, and I've heard it from doctors as well, we have a bad imbalance of the bad gut bacteria that's overrunning the good. And it's just a tendency that our body will probably do all its life. I think so. And so you're constantly having to build up the good bacteria. And so my focus was, you know what, I was pretty sure that if I could focus on a lot of the good probiotic foods, like your fermented foods, and just have a diet rich in probiotics, that it was going to be part of the answer to help me get out. However, it can be tricky because when you're in a bad flare, you can't just start eating lots of probiotics or you will react to it. So it's kind of a slow progression, and I slowly worked my way towards it with diet, with some supplements like colostrum. I have videos on that. Highly, highly recommend. It's a really good supplement to take for people with gut issues. I also have videos on that you can check out. But once you're out of a flare and able to eat more foods, that is when I really try to focus on these probiotic foods. And one of the downfalls for me personally in my personality is when I start feeling well, I can tend to forget to maintain. And so if I'm feeling really well and out of a flare and suddenly I start laxing and forgetting to take as many probiotic foods as I should, forgetting to take my colostrum, forgetting to manage my stress and my sleep, and it starts catching up to you, and then I like suddenly am backtracking and trying to get on top of it again. So it's still definitely a journey for me. So we really wanted to have another child. Our oldest is 5 currently. But I was really petrified to get pregnant. I did not want to be pregnant when I was on heavy drugs for the baby's sake. For the first however many years, I could never be out of a flare for more than a few months. And I'm like, how in the world is this ever going to work? But as I started dealing with this more naturally, and my flares were starting to spread out to maybe a year in between or something like that, and I was being able to manage things better, this was definitely becoming an option again. And I shared before about why I was missing from this channel for so long, and all the stress that was going on in 2020, and how I believe that contributed to my latest flare, which was about a year ago. So we were planning to try to get pregnant again, and I actually did, and I had a miscarriage. That was the beginning of 2020. Oh, 2020 was pretty high work, high stress, and then I flared again in the beginning of 2021. And once I finally got out of that flare, I just felt, you know what, I can't just wait for the perfect time. As soon as I'm out of a flare and feel like I have my symptoms somewhat under control, it's just time to leap in faith, lots of prayer, and see what happens. So the middle of 2021, I got pregnant again, and we're expecting our second child. And God has been so good in answering prayers. And from what I've heard, my doctor had said that women tend to either get better or worse or stay the same. So about 1/3 of women actually improve their symptoms with pregnancy, and 1/3 get worse, and 1/3 stay about the same. Now, you obviously don't want to get pregnant while you're in a flare. That would be not good at all. But that's how I found it with me personally. I felt like my symptoms definitely did get a little better, and I was still, sometimes would start being a little bit worried, thinking it might be coming back. But then I would just go back and continue to just really eat my probiotic foods, my colostrum, and it just seemed to always reverse itself. Watch my diet, watch some of the foods I'm eating. And so it has been just amazing. My pregnancy has been a healthy pregnancy so far. Everything's been looking good. I have not had any major flares. I had some really warning symptoms here towards the end, but I was, once again, it's kind of my own fault. Some of the things I was eating, I was getting sloppy, especially towards the end, really sloppy. And I'm determined to get back on track with that. And that would definitely show up. So I felt like it was a little bit better for me, but yet I would still get symptoms and had to still manage them as I did before. So if you are another lady and thinking about getting pregnant, maybe this will encourage you that it is possible to naturally better control your ulcerative colitis or your Crohn's. That it is possible to be pregnant and not have complications. At least that's been my experience. I'm super blessed in that way. However, I do plan to keep you guys updated. My doctor/midwife told me that I should really expect a flare a few weeks after the baby is born. Most women with these autoimmune conditions, all the fluctuation of hormones after the baby tends to cause a flare-up. And so I'm a little apprehensive about that. And we'll see if I can navigate through that naturally or no. Also, obviously, there's a lot of stress on the body with having a baby. And then you have the newborn phase where you're losing so much sleep. So there's a lot of factors that definitely point towards a very good likelihood of a flare. So we'll see what happens. I'm trying to get on top of my symptoms now. I don't get to all my comments all the time, but I love to hear down below if you're expecting, like what your experience has been, if you have an autoimmune condition or a gut issue like myself, like Crohn's or ulcerative colitis, how it has affected you with pregnancy, or if you're thinking of pregnancy and kind of scared. Maybe you're on medication and thinking of actually getting pregnant while on medication. You know, each person has to decide what's best for them. For me personally, I really wanted to do it naturally if at all possible, and I've been so thankful that for this pregnancy, I've been able to do that. So thanks for being here, and I'm not sure when I'll post again, but I will try to keep you updated on postpartum and how everything goes. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.